Saram, everybody. So, of course, the question is, how many people can you squeeze in a little tiny house? and we still get along by the end of the program. See, this is marvelous. So I'm so pleased, we are all so pleased to have Nosh Vadoli with us today as our speaker. Nosh and his wife Beroz were both born into Shirdi Sai Baba devotee families. And Nosh has been a devotee of Satya Sai Baba for 52 years. Still on 52 years? 52 years. Nosh is an engineer by profession, and he was actively involved in manufacturing and IT until 2002. And then Swami asked him to come and teach. He said, "Come and teach my children." So Nosh taught there for 12 years, and he has just fantastic experiences, wonderful stories, and he brought a PowerPoint, photos, and all kinds of things to share with us. So welcome, Sairam.
Thank you, Leslie.
We're so glad to have you.
Thank you. No, I did have some. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
With humility and boundless love, I offer millions of salutations at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved indweller, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Well, seeing all of you brought back so many memories. I've known some of you for almost 40 years from the Hollywood days. The very first center that opened in the US. Anyway, as you all know, when God assumes the form of man, he is known as an avatar. In the Treta Yuga, Lord Rama came to destroy evil. In the Dwapara Yuga, Lord Krishna came. And this is what he had told Arjuna: to save the righteous, to destroy the wicked, to establish dharma, I take birth from age to age. Yet he says, I'm not born and I shall never die. In the Kali Yuga, which is the age we are in, and these ages range from thousands and thousands of years. In the Kali Yuga, the Lord has said that righteousness has declined so drastically that he will have to take human form in 3 lifetimes. 2 of them have already come and gone, Shirdi Sai Baba and Satya Sai Baba on top. And Prema Sai is yet to come. He's going to be born in the Mandya district of Mysore state of Karnataka. Any of you new to Swami? Nobody. Good. So it's unlike a public meeting, I don't have to speak only about things that are verifiable. That's good. It saves a lot of time. You just heard my wife and I were born in families of Shirdi Sai devotees for generations. And when the Lord wants to come into your life, he does so in a very dramatic fashion. He did that in the case of my mother-in-law, Beroz's mom, Dina. When she used to live in Bhusawal, anywhere from 40 to 60 years after his Mahasamadhi, he would appear by her bedside, physical form, and say, "Beta, mujhe bhook lag rahi hai, I'm hungry. Make such and such a dish for me." And she would immediately get up and take Pad Namaskar and rush to the kitchen and cook up a storm and offer it at the altar. And then all the neighbors would partake of it in the morning. The same thing happened in our case too. In 1975, I was in a very traumatic accident which almost took my life. Thank you, John. There was a bottle of lingam water that I brought. I can't find it, so whoever's got it, that's fine. Anyway.
So, Reka, what are you doing?
I need it, man.
That's what that was.
Anyway,
Do you want to go to the next?
yeah, this is basically what brought God into our lives. After this accident, 2 weeks after I had come home from the hospital, I had a vision of an old man. This was the form that I saw. And he came very close to me, and in a deep, booming voice he said, "Madad karoon," means, "May I help you?" I looked at him and I said, "Baba, my tera anda, I'm blind, you're a fakir. What can you possibly help me with?" So he came very close to me, looked at me very sadly, and then walked away. 2 weeks later, the movie Shirdi Ke Sai Baba came to town. It was in a theater called La Tosca on the outskirts of USC, downtown LA. In those days, only that was the only theater that showed Indian movies. Anyway, this is exactly what caused the problem. Go ahead. Ego is that canker to the soul that corrupts and gradually destroys you. Because I was so filled with ego. I was very successful at that time. And when I saw this fakir asking me if he could help me, it was ego that made me react the way I did. And that's why I thought I'd put that in. It's the harmful insect that consumes one from the inside. Anyway, we went, my brother said this movie has come to town, so let's all go. I was kind of reluctant because I used to get blackouts and I was in a lot of pain, too many fractures on the body, and lost my vision. Anyway, we went to the movie. Long story short, go ahead. Oh no, just go to the old one.
This one?
Go back.
This one?
Yeah, that's fine. Halfway through the movie, we saw Shirdi Baba going through Shirdi, asking for food in that little tin can. And I realized then that the Lord Himself had come to ask if He could help me. And fool that I was, egotistic fool that I was, I said, I had literally driven Him away. Think about it. This is Sudhir Dalvi, an actor, acting the role of Shirdi Baba in this movie. And 2 weeks later, he comes in that same form that he is in the movie, which we saw 2 weeks later. Needless to say, my wife and I lost no time. And actually, I had never seen Shirdi Baba in this form. Although we were born into families of Shirdi Baba, never seen him in this form. Probably only existed in the movie. But anyway, go ahead. One more. There is this book on Shirdi Baba's life called the Sri Sai Satcharita. It's probably one of the best known works on the life and teachings of Shirdi Baba. And they say that if you read it with faith in 1 week, and if you have an unselfish desire, it will be fulfilled. So I was not in a state to read or even sit because I couldn't see for. So anyway, my wife decided to read the book to me. She did it in 2 back-to-back sittings, 1 week after the other. And body started to heal. I didn't need neurosurgery like they were saying I would. And it took almost 16 months for the body to heal before I could even go back to work. But back in, I think in February of 1977, my mom and I decided to go to Shirdi. We had a small daughter at that time, so Veros didn't want to bring her with her. And once we got to Shirdi, we sat in the mandir. We got special permission to sit right in front of this. This is the samadhi here. This is the samadhi. And right in front, this hall is almost as big as our mandir in Puttaparthi. And on two sides, one on the left side, there is a lane for males, and on the right side, females. And almost 2/3 of the hall is kept free for musicians and just kept open. So I was given permission to sit there to film the Kakad Aarti, which is the early morning Aarti. Somehow, when I put the camera on, I could hear the whirring of the motor, but the film wouldn't advance. This is something that my mechanical and electrical engineering brain could not accept, because it's all geared together. The film just would not advance. Those days we had an 8mm movie camera, and each roll was like 4 minutes. So I went through 6 rolls. Nothing changed. So finally I gave up and sat there for the rest of the Aarti and the rest of the proceedings. When I came back to the room, my mom said, "Why the grumpy face? Why the long face?" So I was sitting on the edge of the bed in the hotel room, and I said, "Mom, look at this camera, it just didn't function. Everything was okay until this morning." And see, I wanted to show her what was going on. So I pressed the trigger, and now it started to function. So I took a movie of the carpet in the hotel room. But that's all Swami wanted me to do, I guess. Anyway, Mom said, "You came here to pray, but since yesterday I've been watching. You've been checking out the lighting and this and that." So she made a lot of sense. So I said, "Okay." I took her down to the restaurant, accompanied by the driver that had brought us to Shirdi, a friend of ours actually. And I left for Dwarka Mai. Go ahead. This is Dwarka Mai. This is a dilapidated mosque where Shirdi Baba spent 60 years of his life staying here. He used to sit right here, just in this area. And right there he had lit a flame that continues to this day. I was seated where that picture is there on the left. It was in a different location at that time. I sat in that open area and I prayed for like 4 hours non-stop. I had gone with a prayer book and a box of incense sticks. The noon aarti came and went, people must have come and gone. I was totally unaware of anything. Finally, I finished my prayers, and then I sat there in silence for about another hour. So it was 2 p.m. when I got up. And I went to the exit, and I found an old lady sitting there, and I asked her, "Where is Guru Paduka Stan?" This is where the Padukas of Shirdi Baba are kept. Padukas are the footwear, and they're preserved in this area. I don't know if you can see in this light, I guess not. This whole area is covered by a very low fence like this. This is the Guru Paduka Stan inside. In the middle is a fountain-like structure, and on the other side is a wada or a hotel for pilgrims. And the other 2 sides just have that low fence. So my mother-in-law had told me to light 9 incense sticks right there. There's sand over there. So I pulled out 9 incense sticks in my right hand. And lo and behold, I didn't have matches. I'm not a smoker, so I don't carry those things with me. So I looked around, there was nobody there. The whole place was deserted, absolutely deserted. Shirdi is a farming community. People work very hard in the daytime, in the morning, come home for lunch, and then relax for 3-4 hours, and then go back around 3-4 o'clock. So not a soul around. I looked around, I saw that old lady where I bought some kumkum from her before coming in. So I thought, let me go and get some matches from her. All of a sudden, there was this deep booming voice, Jaladu, may I light it? I said, who is this? One moment I'm all alone in this whole big quadrangle. Suddenly this big, huge guy, he must be at least 6'6". I had to look up at him like this. And my hand started to shake because I had 9 incense sticks and I was going like this. So he reached out with his left hand and steadied my right hand. And even as I was looking, a box of matches appeared in his empty hand. It was cheetah fight. I used to collect match labels and stamps when I was a kid, just like kids locally collect baseball cards. So I knew all the different kinds of match labels. I clearly recognized cheetah fight. And the next moment, there's a lit match in his hand. The box is gone. There's a lit match, and he guiding my, and he lights all the 9 sticks. And I put them in that sand, and I turned to thank him, and he's gone. Cool indeed.
Not changing.
Yeah. I'm using this just so I can coordinate with the slides, and more importantly, I don't want to misquote Swami. Jaladu actually means may I light it, but I don't know what he burnt. It also means may I burn it. So obviously he burnt a lot of my negative karma. Because when I came back from Shirdi, my wife told me I was a changed man. Go ahead. Dedicated prayer and the name of the Lord have tremendous power to alter your karma. So when you go to a place of worship like we did to Shirdi, don't look around at lighting and other things. Focus on prayer. Rest assured that He hears it all. Go ahead, Martin. This is something that I learned when I was in Puttaparthi also, that prayers help departed souls to progress in the spirit world. Apparently in the spirit world, it's very difficult to progress fast. It takes years and years compared to this human life, which is why many advanced souls prefer to take human birth, just so that they can progress fast. Go ahead. This is what Swami had said on the eradication of the ego. Whatever you do, think it is God's work. Then it's all worthwhile. If you do it, there's no chance for ego to arise. In the mid-70s, the first Sai Baba Center opened in Hollywood. We started to attend bhajans over there, and on Sundays we would go there for Bal Vikas. It's now called Sri Satya Sai EHV, right? Am I right? When did that change?
There's two different kinds. There's the SSE, Science Spiritual Education,
Right.
and then education in
Human values is what I was referring to. Anyway, we used to sit around on Sunday mornings with all the other parents, and we would soon get bored just gossiping, so we decided to do something to serve the people, because Swami says it's nothing like service. Go ahead. So we went to the downtown area. Actually, we started serving in the MacArthur Park area in 1979. 1980, we moved to downtown LA. Because, believe it or not, MacArthur Park was not safe compared to downtown. So every Sunday we would distribute hot food or regular sandwiches. Here you are seeing people distributing sleeping bags. There's our wonderful attorney, Harold Stokes, making sure that we are always in compliance with the law. Right here on that, on the white.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Go ahead. There's Harold again in the slide on the left. And
Yeah, there he is.
sleeping bags in the daytime. Sometimes we would go there at night and distribute blankets to the people sleeping in their cardboard condominiums. That way we would make sure that each one that deserved it got it. There's SSE kids serving hot food.
Your son?
This is, sorry?
Your son?
Yeah, son and daughter too. This is Los Angeles Street. Midnight Mission used to be right here, because you can see that board. And right here was a small street. On the other side is 4th Street, cutting Los Angeles. And at the intersection of Boyd and Los Angeles, we started to feed there in 1980. Among the things we used to feed people with, besides sandwiches, I would go to 3 Winchell's Donuts on my way in from the valley and pick up their remaining donuts from Saturday. Normally we would get anywhere from 200 to 300, sometimes 400 donuts between the 3 locations. And one particular morning, each place I went to said we only had a dozen or so. We didn't think that was enough for you, so we threw it out. All of them said the same thing. So I got to downtown at 10:45, parked the car and came about 10:50. And I looked at this huge line, almost 800 people. I said, they're going to be disappointed when they see that we don't have donuts. At that very instant, a bright white, shiny van drives up. 2 Orientals are sitting in the driver's seat and the seat next to that. And they said, we heard you need donuts. Think about it. We heard you need donuts. We have a van full, would you like some? I said, would you? Why? Definitely we would. And so the driver jumped out, and so did the helper. Opened the back door. Inside is lined with shelves, and on each shelf was a container filled with donuts. They brought out some cardboard boxes, and they must have emptied out about 400 donuts. So although there were 800 people in line, at least 400 got donuts. We would also feed hot food once every Sunday. I think the 4th Sunday of every month. The last Sunday of the month, we would feed hot food instead of just sandwiches and burritos and stuff like that. Go ahead. So when we would have the table set up, I would bring this photograph from home and put it there on the table. Many times the homeless would comment and say, is he your leader? I said, why? Oh, we just saw him at the end of the line. asking us to be patient. He's saying there's plenty of food. Don't get upset. Don't be in a rush. Don't try to cut in. Everybody will get food. Talking about that, this is the early 80s, but I'll jump to 2000 in connection with the same thing, same theme. This was in Idlewild. We had a retreat, Memorial Day retreat in Idlewild. And Friday morning, Glendale was supposed to do the altar. So we got there pretty early, and we set up the altar that you see there in front. And the custodian, this was a Seventh-day Adventist facility, beautiful place, beautiful rooms well appointed, almost like a luxurious hotel. So everybody was accommodated in the hotel. We broke for lunch, but before that the custodian told us that the brand new PA system that they had installed had broken down. I said, okay, so now what? I said, why don't you get someone to fix it? He says, yeah, we have been trying since yesterday. The earliest somebody can come this is Friday morning. He says, the earliest somebody can get here is Saturday afternoon from Santa Ana. Friday evening, our keynote speaker is going to speak. And of course, bhajans and all that good stuff. So we broke for lunch. He locked the room. We all went out, had lunch, and when we came back, he excitedly came and grabbed my arm and said, your leader was here. I said, he was? He fixed the system. When I came in, he unlocked the door and came in. This is a locked auditorium. And he saw some guy in an orange robe bending over the PA system. And when he said, hey, who are you? He said, your system is fixed. He said, how did you get in? It's locked. Swami said, I don't need a key to go in when I'm needed. No, to go wherever I'm needed. I'll give you the exact quote. I'm still on the donuts here. Yeah, the custodian asked him who he was. The figure in the orange robe replied, your system is working now. The custodian asked him how he had entered the locked auditorium, and the quote-unquote gentleman with the afro replied, I don't need a key to enter where I'm needed. And as he walked away, the custodian pressed him for more details. But as he was passing this area, he suddenly realized that it was the same person in the picture. And that's why when I came in, he said, your leader was here. Go ahead, what's next? He walked, okay. Mother Dina, my mother-in-law, she was highly diabetic. She had type 2 diabetes, and for 32 years she lived with it. She actually lived with it for 45 years. And we sincerely believe that it was Shirdi Baba's grace and then Satya Sai Baba's grace that kept her going. Otherwise, many of her toes would have been amputated. After our son, our youngest child, turned 2, we started to visit Prashanti Nilayam twice a year. On every trip, we had several interactions with Swami. And some trips, we were even blessed with interviews. I was just looking at Sylvester, and it brought back wonderful memories. Sylvester and I spent 16 hours in line before one Shivaratri. We sat up all night and we still couldn't get into the morning darshan. But the best thing about that was we came right to the front of the line. So we sat there for the rest of the morning, and in the afternoon we were smack right in front in the auditorium. And that was 23 years after Swami. For 23 years, Swami had not materialized a lingam in public. First time in 23 years, we saw it come out. And you know what Swami has said about that. Sylvester, good to see you. In the 80s, especially from 83 to 89, Mother Dina she went through all kinds of surgeries almost every 6 months. she would lose circulation in one foot, and the doctor would operate on her, taking a vein from some other part of the body and restore circulation. She had one of the finest vascular surgeons, Dr. George Andros. He vowed to us that he would make sure, he'd do everything in his power to make sure that he would never have to amputate her toes. You know how that works, right? With diabetes, you lose circulation, and then gangrene could set in. 1985, 6 o'clock, we said bye to her. 6 a.m., 7 a.m. was the surgery. This was the fifth surgery, vascular surgery. This was in St. Joseph's in Burbank Medical Center. 1985, 6:30 in the morning, Dr. Andros comes in just to say hi and give us a report of what he's planning to do. And he says, okay, you guys sit tight, and when the surgery is done, I'll come back and I'll let you know what took place. 7 o'clock, he walks right back in. We thought something had happened. Something did happen. He said, the charge nurse unlocked the ante room next to the surgical theater. And she saw some guy in an orange robe, or orange shirt is what George had told us. Some guy in an orange shirt was checking out the instruments. So she got hysterical. She said, how did you get in? And what are you doing here? So he turned, waved to her like this, and walked through a concrete wall. So when he came back and said he saw some guy, the charge nurse had seen, Mary was the charge nurse, she had seen some guy in an orange shirt. I immediately took out my lingam photo and showed it to him. No, that was a different photo then. This didn't exist in those days. So I said, was this him? He said, I don't know. I didn't see him. Ask Mary. So that evening after the surgery, we went and asked Mary. And when I showed her the photograph, she almost jumped out of her skin. She said, who is this guy? I said, I'll tell you, it was a Catholic hospital. I had to be very careful. But anyway, a few days later, when mother was discharged, I gave her Howard Murfitt's book, Man of Miracles. I said, read it wisely. 1989, Mother Dina was recuperating after her 11th vascular surgery. Every 6 months she would have one. She decided to come with us to Parthi. She said, I desperately need Swami's darshan and blessing. And so she was seated in the wheelchair area, where the handicapped are seated. Swami never goes to that area. Very rarely does he go there. We were there for 3 weeks. I even asked her, I said, I can ask Swami to give us an interview. I mean, it was that simple. And he would agree. She said, no, he knows my desire, that I want to be blessed. He will come to me. 3 weeks went by. That morning, we were getting all geared up to leave for Bangalore. And unknown to us, Swami still lived in the mandir in those days. He walked quietly to her area. And I have to quote this. He went straight to her and said, Ma, aapko kya chahiye? Mother, what would you like? Mother Dina was doing Namsmaran. So she was, the eyes closed, totally lost to the world. Her neighbor had to nudge her, saying, Swami is right here, wake up. So she tried to stand up, but Swami put his hands on her shoulders and said, Baithe rahiye, keep seated, remain seated. Again he said, Aapko kya chahiye? What do you want? She said, Ashirwad or Udi. Ashirwad means blessing. Udi is a Shirdi term for Vibhuti. Swami said, Mera Ashirwad to sada aapke saath hai. My blessings are always with you. And he put his hand on her head. He then said, Udi bhejunga. I will send Udi. So after the darshan, of course, we went to the room. We had breakfast, went to the room. We waited for a whole hour. No Udi came. No Vibhuti came. So the taxi was ready, so we left. As we were leaving Unni's office, the accommodation office, after we had turned the key in, suddenly a young boy came running to us, put his hands on the bonnet and said, "Stop, stop, stop. I can't afford to let you go." Oh, no, before that, there was something else. After Swami talked to Mom, he came round to where I was seated and he asked me, "Aaj ja rahe ho? Are you leaving today?" I said, "Yes, Swami." Then he lifted his robe slightly, signaling that I should take Pat Namaskar. And when I looked up, he was smiling and he said, "Maa se baat hui." I spoke to Mother. And he walked away. Of course, my joy knew no bounds. We waited for the whole hour, then this guy suddenly showed up. Swami told this boy said that Swami went up to his room, above the interview room, where he used to live, and he created a whole bunch of vibhuti on a newspaper. Huge mound of vibhuti, literally just flowing from his hand. And then he kept this, Swami went through the letters. He was reading some of them, putting some aside. He knows the content of every single letter, Just in case you wonder whether he reads them, he does. When the car was approaching Unni's office, the accommodation office, he told the boy, "Now go and deliver the vibhuti." But by the time he came down from Swami's room and came around to the accommodation office, we had already started to leave, and he stopped us. And this is when he told us about Swami materializing the vibhuti. That was 89. 90s, a lot of things happened. I won't go into details. 9/11 came around in 2001. Passenger jets, as you know, were hijacked and they were flown into the World Trade Center in New York City and Washington, D.C. Many thousands lost their lives, while countless others were injured and scarred for life. There was a huge backlash that took place, especially amongst people of brown skin. Many of our kids were targeted. Everybody was taken to be an Arab or whatever, And many of the Sai devotees got together sometime in January of 2002 so that we could do something to heal the community before the 1-year anniversary. We talked to the mayor of LA. He was gung-ho about this. He said, "I'll close City Hall for you, and the streets around City Hall, and you can have a street festival there." That didn't sound like a very good idea. So we spoke to the County Board of Supervisors. The sheriff was very excited. He said, "This is exactly what we need to heal the community." What we were planning was a get-together of 12 major religions. LA has a lot of people from different parts of the world. It's truly a melting pot. And we identified 12 major religions that were being practiced in LA. So we called it the Unity in Diversity Prayer Meeting. This was at the Ackerman Center, the Ackerman Grand Ballroom on September 9th, just before, 2 days before the anniversary. And just outside the ballroom, we had booths set up for every single major religion. What each religion said about truth, right conduct, peace, love, and non-violence. Tara is here, and so is Victoria, so I'll go into it in a little bit of detail. Go ahead. This was the next event that we did at, the same event, sorry. As you can see, we had prayers for peace, unity, and harmony offered by religious leaders by 4 of the major religions. Go ahead. And we had posters set up in the foyer for each religion, what each religion says about truth, righteousness, peace, love, and nonviolence. Hinduism, I think the other one is Islam, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, I should know. We had a table set up there on the stage, and many of our young Balvikas children were involved. Here's one of them, Tara was one of them. Tara and her mother used to drive 3.5 hours every time we had a meeting at the Sanatana Dharma temple, the planning committee meeting. There was a lot to plan for, huge events. And I think Tara is leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. 800 plus people, standing room only, so maybe 850, 900 people in that ballroom. She was a trooper. Go ahead. There's Victoria, she was the MC. Jagdishan, Brother Jagdishan, talking about Hinduism. There's the head of the Buddhist Council. Each of them was escorted by the Balvika's child. Each religious leader was asked to light a candle. We had 12 candles for 12 major faiths, and each one was made to light a candle before they said their prayers or they spoke. Go ahead. There's the sheriff of LA. He insisted on speaking. This is the, I mean, he couldn't believe what we were planning to do. He said, this is exactly what we want, to heal the community. This is the head of the Muslim Council, head of the Sikh Khalsa Council. He chose to sing rather than say anything. So you have the harmonium and the tablas there. Go ahead. 3 other religious leaders. There's Brother Jean, filming as usual. Indran was there. These are 2 of my angels, young adult coordinators. Young adults played a big role in getting this thing off to a flying start. And here's the whole planning committee. There's Mrs. Saylor over there in the front. There's little Satya here. He's 8 years old at that time. He's now graduated from Boston. But young kids, they were so dedicated and involved. They wanted to do something to heal the community. Go ahead. The next week we did Sarvadharma symbol. This is our symbol. We made a symbol with 12 major religions depicted on it. There was a sister from the Arcadia Center who was a wonderful artist, and she drew that and painted it. Go ahead. We made the symbol out of rice because anything else would have just flown away. So rather than color flour or something like that, we made it out of rice. It was, it was an engineering feat to determine what colors we needed and in what amount. We went through 5,500 pounds. It's 2.5 tons of rice that was donated. And we baked it all, colored it in a bakery belonging to a Sai devotee, and using Sai devotees' trucks, we brought the whole thing back and forth. 2.5 tons were donated, just for the asking. People just heard about it and said, oh, we'll donate. This is the symbol. And these are the booths for the 12 major religions. This is the symbol. Go ahead. There's one booth on Buddhism, then there's Hinduism, Islam, Judaism. No, this is Jainism, sorry. And there's Brother Martin, and Vasant, and Surekha, Prema group. They were there. We started this on Friday evening at 6 p.m. We thought it would take a whole 48 hours to finish, because this is 80-foot diameter and very intricate detail. But with Swami's grace, we finished it by 10 p.m. on Saturday. So, huge difference, huge difference. The mayor was so involved, he got the school district involved. They had kids bussed in from different parts of the county, different religions, different parts of the county. And the best part of it was the kids said, we don't want to work on our own religion. We'll work on somebody else's. They understood the true spirit. There's the Prema group. They were there all day Saturday, all day Sunday, regaling us, egging us on. Go ahead. We did this on paper so that we could use the rice. And these are my three angels, Shanti, Kanchana, and Kavita. This is Dr. Chandradas and Brother Indran, who runs the Torrance Center. There's this Finnish symbol on Sunday. There's Harold and Victoria. There's Reverend Pipes and a few others who had come to see the thing on Sunday. They had come to help actually, but they were too late. We had finished it on Saturday night. But the kids did a fabulous job, really fabulous job. Go ahead. We had each of the symbols there for peace, love, non-violence. You can see it's an intricate piece of work. The flag and everything else. Go ahead. The head of the Khalsa Council, when he met us at UCLA at the prayer meeting, he said, we hear that you're going to do this a week from now. We want to be a part of it. We will feed anybody who comes, no matter how many people, hundreds if necessary. Breakfast, lunch, dinner with drinks. Drinks meaning water and juice and so on. And they did that. There's Harold and me talking to them. We became really good friends. And they helped us a lot over the years, you know. There's Brother Rohan keeping us hydrated. And there's this Finnish symbol at the bottom. Go ahead. This is it. This was so huge that we had to use a fire truck with that extended crane. The guys actually volunteered. They said, you can't take pictures of it otherwise. So we will send somebody up that hook and ladder. And right up from there, we'll take this picture. Go ahead. This is the finished picture. I think that's Victoria's handwriting there. But that's our symbol, and this is the symbol with 12 major religions. Love unites all. The next month, in October, we did the first medical camp in Kelowna. It was the very first medical camp that Sai Devotees did. This was a group of truly interfaith, because we had picked up a lot of interfaith leaders and friends during this effort. And they said, we'll join you, whatever you want us to do. So we said, let's do a medical camp. And our leader said, can you? In the US? I said, yes, we can. And we did it. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Go back to the old one. Okay. So just after the medical camp in October, Beros and I went to Prashanti. October 20th was Declaration Day, anniversary of when Swami said who he was. And on the 22nd, when he was approaching me in darshan, I mentally asked him, Swami, I may be retiring in about 5 years or so. Give me something meaningful to do. I just finished this huge project. Not me, I mean, he had done everything. It was a group effort. Don't think I did it alone. Far from it. So he comes up to me, raises his robe, and lets me take Pad Namaskar. Then when I looked up, he's smiling and he said, come and teach my children. And he starts to walk away. The moment I heard teach and children, I used to teach Balvikas in the 80s, group 3, boys. And I had a co-teacher who used to tell me about, he was a teacher in the LA Unified School District, and he used to tell me some horror stories about what went on. So all those negative images came to me. I said, teach kids. He said children. He didn't say boys, he said children. Swami walked a few steps, he turned around and said, my children are not like that. He reads everything that's going on in your mind. Anyway, he beckoned for me to go to the veranda, so I went there. But when he came up to the veranda, he didn't talk to me. He talked to Mr. Chakravarti, and just before he left, they allocated a space for me to sit on the inner veranda. Mr. Chakravarti then asked me about my background. He said he was wondering why Swami had picked me. And when I told him that my doctorate was in GIS, Geospatial Information Systems, they were ecstatic. They were looking for somebody like that for a long time. And the GIS specialists are very highly paid and very hard to find. And I guess Swami had planned this whole thing over many years. And so he immediately put me in touch with the Vice Chancellor and the Registrar. And they grilled me for days. What is this subject? How does it work? In case you don't know, it can be used to guide missiles, and that's where it was developed initially, to guide intercontinental ballistic missiles. Today they guide these, what do you call them?
Satellites?
Drones?
Drones, exactly. But they do a lot of other things with it, telemedicine is one of the things that Swami was interested in, business applications galore, and so on. Anyway, just go back to the old one.
Oh, sorry.
So, Swami, I guess he got feedback from the registrar and the VC, and they were both very interested to have me come and teach. So one day he comes and asks me, can you take early retirement? He's asking me. It's no less than a command, I said, definitely, Swami. Well, so I said it might take a little bit of time because I've got multi-million-dollar projects back in LA. He says, take all the time you want. How much time do you need? I said, minimum 2 years. Minimum 2 years. This was December of 2003. No, December 2002. I told him minimum 2 years. And I had gone back again for Christmas at that time to set up software and check out equipment and so on. At that time, Chakravarti sent me a note saying Swami wants to see you. So I went to his office and said, when do I go? He said, oh, you don't have to worry. He has given me this key. This is a room in South 7. He has permanently allocated it to you. Anyway, that's totally his grace. So once I had said yes, that's when this Chakravarti thing happened with the key. Oh, when Chakravarti handed me the key, he told me that he had this interaction with Swami. Swami told him that my wife would not be living there continuously because she would be busy with children. He told Mr. Chakravarti that. My wife would not be living there continuously. So Chakravarti interjected and Swami said, Swami, his children are all grown up. His daughter got married last year. And I had given Swami the first invitation, so obviously everybody knew about it. Swami said, hey, not children, grandchildren. This was 10 months after my daughter got married. Years before my son got married. He was talking about grandchildren. At least we knew then that we would become grandparents. Next June, actually end of May, I came back. Believe it or not, once I came back to LA, things started to move so dramatically fast that everything that I had thought would take about 2 years was finished in 4 months. Incredible, incredible, truly, truly amazing grace. For anything in government to work that fast. Anyway, when Swami normally comes back after Vrindavan, he comes back to Puttaparthi around June 8th. So the very first day he sent for me and he said, show me the MBA syllabus. And that's when that was one of the slides that, go ahead. Now, GPS is the Global Positioning System. You have a system of 21 satellites, 24 actually, 3 are on spare all the time, 21 are active. Each one is emitting a signal every second. And if you get in your GPS receiver, today you have a GPS receiver in your watch and in your iPhone. But if a GPS receiver picks up 3 signals, you can get accuracy close to a meter. With 4 signals, millimeter accuracy. Millimeters. So he looks at this and says, let me quote him. Oh, sorry, this comes later. But he looked at this MBA syllabus for a whole, almost an hour, 58 minutes actually. Swami normally gives you less than 2 minutes when he talks about anything. I'm sure Sureka will vouch for that. He never spends more time than that. But for 58 minutes, he went through this whole syllabus. It was on PowerPoint and in a folder. And after that, literally 100 people asked me just to touch that folder because Swami had gone through every single page of it. It's just like collecting the sand we used to in the old days, Anyway, within a month, Professor Venkataramanaya, who was the head of the Department of Physics, he said, this is exactly what I want. Every summer I go to Germany to do research and guide research on this subject. So I want to introduce it in MTech. Now, Masters in Technology is obviously more technical oriented than MBA, which is Masters in Business Administration. So Swami said, okay, go ahead and develop a syllabus for that. And for this, he took a whole hour and a half. This was one of the slides. Here's what he said. He wanted me to make this much more technical. So he would give me suggestions. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Just mind-boggling stuff. The Lord of the universe, he knows every single thing. And I'd say, yes, Swami, you're right, absolutely right. And then I'd look at him and through the corner of his eye, I'd see him smiling. Of course he was right. He said that 3-4 times. He said, do this, do this, do this. During this discussion, he just showed his humor. When he saw this slide, before I could say anything, he said, so a GPS receiver needs at least 4 signals to determine the position accurately on Earth? I said, yes, Swami. Just imagine talking to Swami and he's giving you detailed information about what you're telling him. I was dumbfounded at the detailed extent of his knowledge. I just barely nodded and said yes. He then laughed and said, go ahead. Why do you need a GPS system when I'm the one sending you from here to there? You should call your GPS God positioning system. And he's a big grin on his face. Think about it. Why do you need a GPS when I'm sending you from here to there? Then he looks at me. He then leaned forward and said, over the next few years, you will be the keynote speaker at several national and international conferences. You'll also be invited for consultation with ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization in Bangalore. I was shocked to hear all this, but kept silent. When Swami speaks, you never say anything. He then said, "Don't mention this joke to anyone about the GPS." No, if you do, they will throw stones at you. He then stretched out his hands like this, palms upward, and said, "The scientific community still does not believe in the power that is in these hands." In August 2003, he came to me and said, "Go ahead. Man is destroying Mother Earth and the environment. I want you to teach my children how to use this is exactly his words, how to use the latest technology to identify, mitigate, or manage and mitigate environmental problems. And I want you to start with the Anantapur campus." Anantapur is the ladies' campus. My colleagues were shocked when I told them about this. They said, "Sir, you are so blessed. Forget about a male professor. Typically, not even a male kosu, mosquito, is allowed on that campus." I'm looking at her because she speaks Tamil. Not even a male kosu, not even a male mosquito is allowed on that campus. Forget about a male professor going there. I was scared. I'd never been so scared in my life to face this group of 150 to 170 girls. But with Swami's grace, I won't go into the details, but with Swami's grace, it just worked out so well. I made so many good friends with the professors there. Even today they send me emails. Go ahead. I created a new syllabus for the environment, and this is something that was in there. GIS analysis of the Arctic summertime ice cap shows how it has shrunk in 22 years. 1978, this is 2002, due to global warming. Scientific evidence, irrefutable. And he saw this slide about the loss of 500,000 square miles of polar ice in 22 years due to global warming. Now listen to this. He said, if you look out at the right side of the plane, you will see melting glaciers when you fly over Greenland in the daytime. I was booked, this is August, end of August, middle August. I was booked on a flight to fly out of Frankfurt on Lufthansa on December 20th. He knew what time that flight would leave, 10:10 a.m. And he also knew that it would fly over Greenland, polar route, Frankfurt to LA, shortest route, shortest distance. And he said, if you look out the right side of the plane, make sure you don't get a seat over the wing. Swami is telling me all this. And if you do, go to the front or the rear exit door. They have windows there also. And you can see this. I had heard about Sai Baba of Shirdi being familiar with the timings of trains. He used to advise people, take this train, don't take this train, and so on, as people would leave Shirdi from Kopergaon. But this was the first time, this was the second time actually that he showed that he knew the details of every single flight in the world as well. Think about it. The first time was when he saved us from the Friday, September 5th, 1986 Pan Am hijacking, which Michael and Phyllis were there. They refused to listen to him. They said, we have to get back. But we were able to change 6 tickets, miraculously. 6 tickets, beginning of September, end of summer. Everybody and his uncle is coming back to the US, after vacationing in India. Only he could arrange it. But he had told me, don't take the Friday flight, change it to Sunday. And how it changed was a long story. I don't have time for that. So 2 flights, he knew the exact detail. Well in advance. On Monday he tells me, when are you leaving? I said, Wednesday. Not from here. When are you leaving Bombay? He knows that I'm leaving Bombay, not from Madras. I said, Friday, Swami. No, change it to Sunday. Change it to Sunday. Thank God I listened. I had 2 young children and 2 elderly parents. Can you imagine the trauma that they would have gone through? All of us would have gone through on that flight. Several people died. Soon the long-awaited Dasara was upon us. You know what the Dasara festival is? 10-day festival when students and staff go out as ambassadors of Swami's love. If I have time, I'll show you those slides. Over the years, there were many instances when he taught me ever so much. Almost 12 years spent in Parthi with 2 darshans a day, 7 days a week, with interactions every week, some private and some on the veranda, were truly a golden period of my life. I don't know what I had done to deserve this, but he had once said, nobody can be in your shoes without many, many lifetimes of positive karma. He told me that in Tamil. That was his preferred language of communication with me. Second was Hindi, and third was English. He communicated all 3 ways. In 2005, he said, a colleague and I should go to the ashram of a guru in Madanapalli to get initiated into Kriya Yoga. Go ahead. When I came back from there, after the initiation, this is exactly what he said. Now we have a heart-to-heart connection. Remember, I'm always in you and around you, guarding you and protecting you as the eyelid protects the eye. Over the years, I've found for this heart-to-heart connection to work and for his reaction to be instantaneous, you must live in CIA, constant integrated awareness. The Swami is with us. He's not some 5'2" or 5'3" sadhu sitting in Puttaparthi who has now left the body. He's always with us. And he has shown this innumerable ways. Unless you have this constant integrated awareness that he's with you, his reaction won't be instantaneous. Remember that situation with Draupadi? What did she call out first? Mathuravasi, right? Dweller of Mathura. Because she was calling out to Krishna for help when she was being disrobed. But he never appeared. But the moment she said, Hridayavasi, resident of my heart, boom, he was there. That's the difference. Every birthday he would stop by, gently he would lift his robe, indicating that I should take Pad Namaskar. This was one particular birthday that I should talk about. After I started work in the 60s, I had certain extremely traumatic experiences. And over the years, I would often get horrifying nightmares, and wake up screaming and sweating. Throughout my stay in Parthi, my constant prayer was for him to never abandon me. One morning, after a night of terrifying nightmares, I was summoned for an interview. I sat on the floor just by his right foot. After he discussed a few details that he wanted to implement in my teaching, he put his right hand on my head for what appeared to be a few minutes. Now, this had happened to me after the earthquake, 1994, January 17th earthquake, when our house was badly destroyed. Badly. But we escaped with his grace. Not a scratch on anybody. We had 2 elderly parents, our son and Beros and I. With the dog, of course. Not a scratch. When we went to thank him after the house had been rebuilt, he was in Vrindavan at that time, and he had showed me this entire thing as like a video working in my mind. All the scenes that we went through the earthquake. And because of lack of time, I won't go into the details. I've spoken about it many times. But Similarly, when he put his hand on my head, I could visualize all these horrifying, terrible, traumatic experiences. And after a few minutes, he lifted his hand and said, "No more bad dreams." I've never had a nightmare since then. This was 2008. He indicated that I should take Padnamaskar. When I looked up and saw him smiling, I said, "Swami, please bless me like this always." He then said something I'll never forget. "Mera to janam janam ka saath hai." I have been with you for many, many lifetimes. That day also happened to be my birthday. He then asked, "How old are you?" I hesitated for a moment. Before I could reply, he said, "You are 66 today." 26 plus 40. Remember Godzilla? I was literally shocked. I'll explain what Godzilla is. And he continued to say, "You are dozed off. Did you think the motorcycle steered itself to the dark bungalow on its own?" When I was 9, an astrologer had predicted to my dad that a possible fatal crash would happen at the age of 26. At the age of 26, I was driving along Highway 33, not this one in Ojai, but the one that connects Kharagpur to Ranchi, on a motorcycle. I had obviously dozed off and woke up outside a dark bungalow. A dark bungalow is a Public Works Department guest house that is kept for engineers who are on tour. They go out to check the highways, the roads, the bridges, and so on. 40 years later, on my birthday, he casually revealed that he had saved me. I was driving along and I don't know what happened. I must have dozed off, obviously, because he said I dozed off. At high speed, probably going 90 miles an hour, open freeway, wide open, moonlit night. It was 11 p.m. The next thing I know, I was on the side of the road in this little town called Godzilla. I'd never been to that town. I don't know how I got there from the freeway, from the highway into that town. But my bike was in idle. Gear was not engaged. Obviously, it was idling. And in the headlight, I could see a board to the left saying Public Works Department, Dark Bungalow, Godzilla. I never knew how I got there. I had no recollection. He had saved me. He said he steered the bike. Imagine something. Oh boy. His Mahasamadhi on April 24th has left a huge void in our lives. Yes, the body that Swami had assumed as the Sri Satya Sai avatar had perished, as all human bodies do. Yet as the bhajan goes, I am not born and I shall never die. The following incidents will remind us that he is always with us. How am I doing for time? Am I?
We are not complaining.
Good, good.
Whatever.
This is interesting.
To us too.
In February of 2012, due to circumstances beyond my control, I had stopped my morning meditations. In the third week of February, my colleague with whom he had sent me to go to Madanapalli for getting initiated into Kriya Yoga, he called me from Parthi and said, a huge photo of Swami has been delivered to him. His daughter had received it the previous day. She said, we have not ordered this. This is huge. This is expensive as heck. Take it back. She didn't know any better, So the next day, they are 12 and a half hours ahead. So he's meditating early morning. And Kriya Yoga, after you finish your meditation, if you sit quietly, you can, and focus on this third eye, you can talk to Swami. you have to develop that skill. He told him, hey, it's not for you, it is for Dr. Nosh. I'll have it re-delivered this morning. Go ahead. This is the picture. It's called Udbhava Shambhavi. This was taken in Vrindavan as Swami was entering Trai through the gate. Trai is his residence. And a young child had called out to him, Swami, and he turned to look. This is the manifesting the love of a mother. Udbhava is manifesting. Shambhavi is Mother Parvati. Shambho is Shiva. Shambhavi is Mother Parvati. And go ahead. This is our prayer room. And he even indicated, this is the east side window which we face when we are meditating. You can see the sunlight streaming from it. And we had kept the place above his chair empty. We didn't want to put anything there. He said, put the photo there. To that extent of detail, put the photo there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Since December of 2013, this is in a neighbor's room in Prashanti, same block, S7A5. My neighbor was out of town on business, out of the country actually. He has an IT business in Bangalore. Huge laminated photograph of Swami. This is laminated, it's not a picture with a glass frame or anything. Vibhuti pouring from it. Go ahead. Since December 2013 to this day, huge amounts of vibhuti just pouring from the picture. They fall on this altar here, you scoop up as much as you want, give it away to anybody who asks for it. Even today you can go get any amount of vibhuti. Materialized. Go ahead. December 2013. Go ahead. This is after his Mahasamadhi. Just giving you different shots over a time period. Because he's my neighbor, I could take photographs whenever I wanted. This is just detailed. Every single Sevadar who comes to work in Prashanti comes there to that room. And they take away gobs of vibhuti. Any amount you take, it just keeps coming. Go ahead.
Building and room was that again?
South 7A5. South 7A5. It's the same, it's my neighbor actually. Go ahead. This was another incident. At 12:51 p.m. on June 3rd, 2015, a little over 2 years ago, he once again saved me from certain death. I was driving home westbound on 101 and I decided to get off on Shoop. I typically exit at Mulholland, but Shoop, they have 3 gas stations. So, go ahead. I was approaching that stop sign. This is the 101 here, continuing 4 or 5 lanes. This is your exit lane on Shoop. And just as I was approaching that stop sign, I heard a huge sound of cars crashing together. I instinctively jammed my brakes and stopped. I stopped right at the stop sign there. Of course, traffic backed up. Go ahead. One more. As you can see, these tiles are at the edge of the road. All along the highway, you can see that. One more. There was a white Volvo sedan that was going along, and somebody clipped her. This was an old elderly lady driver driving a 4-door sedan. Clipped her from the back, and suddenly she went into a tailspin. I'm assuming she went into a tailspin, because the next thing I know, go ahead. I'm stopped a little to the right of these tiles. One more. One more. And there from the freeway, this car is coming straight at me. I'm stopped over here. This car is heading straight for me. Straight from my front window. I can see that lady horrified. She's just frozen. She doesn't know what to do. I mean, old lady. 15 feet, maximum 20 feet. At that speed, coming off the freeway, I mean, this was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So cars must be going 55, 60, 80 miles an hour. Even after she got clipped and went into a tailspin, she must be coming at me at nothing less than 40 miles an hour. All I could scream was Swami. One word. Go ahead. She was coming straight at me. I'm here. She's coming at me like this, heading straight for my front window, 15, 20 feet away. Almost certain death. Go ahead. I drew this just to illustrate what was going on. She's coming at me off the freeway, this horizontal rectangle. I'm stopped there on the off-ramp. One more. One more. Oh, sorry, go back. Don't mind, sorry. I'm still stopped here. I just screamed Swami, and suddenly, instead of hitting me here, she zigged and zagged. At 50 miles an hour. Instant reaction. And go to the next one. And she came to a stop on this shoulder without hitting that power pole or the fence. It was like Swami had plucked that car out midway, and picked it up, moved it around, and plopped it right there. There's no other explanation for it. Physically impossible. I'm a man of science. I know it's just absolutely impossible. Only divine intervention. Okay. Do I have a few minutes?
Yeah. One more slide.
Last August, after I had confirmed my plans to travel to Parthi for Dasara, for Gram Seva, he told me one morning, Gaumukh is melting. All this he's telling me in the native language, Tamil or Hindi. I'm just translating it into English for you, for your benefit. Gaumukh is melting. Go to Gangotri. I said, what is Gaumukh? I know what Gaumukh means. Gau is cow. Mukh is face. So what has anything got to do with the face of a cow? Go to Gangotri. Then it struck me that, it's something to do with the Ganges. So I looked it up on the internet, and Gaumukh is the glacier from where
the
Ganges comes out of a cave. It's in the shape of a cow's mouth. And that glacier is called Gaumukh. So the next morning, after my meditation, I asked him, you want me to trek to that? Because this is at 19,000 feet. And the closest road is about 3 days and 3 nights trekking, non-stop. I said, you want me to trek there at this age? He said, no. Book a Char Dham tour. Dham means village. There's a tour that takes you to 4 significant places of interest. Not Rishikesh, of course. You do pass through Rishikesh. Char Dham tour. One is the source of the Yamuna. The other is the source of the Ganges. The third is Kedarnath, where one of the 12 Shivlingams are in existence that Swami had recharged in 1961. And the fourth one is Badrinath. So anyway, I did book that tour, and with Swami's grace, there were 2 Sai devotees on it. We flew from Bombay to Delhi, and from Delhi we went in a bus to this place in Haridwar, Khanna Palace. Overnight I left my camera on charge for battery, and in the morning we left around 4 o'clock. We got up, 5 o'clock we left. When we got to one more, this Kempty, no, an hour before this, we had come to a temple. So I immediately dove into my backpack to take out my camera. And I found this bag empty. This is where I had kept my camera, in this, so I could sling it on my back wherever I went, because I was planning to go into the depths of the Ganges to get clean water So everybody in the bus was very anxiously looking forward to my taking pictures. Everybody else had their own cell phones. They didn't have a top-notch camera like I did. And so they had seen the results of it on our way from Delhi. So when I didn't find the camera, everybody was concerned. 5 people looked in the backpack. Oh, let me see, let me see, let me see. All women. No camera. When we got to this place called Kempty Falls, the bus pulled over, and right across the street there's a Shiv Mandir. Go ahead. You can see the Om Namah Shivaya there. This is at the foot of a hill. Then there's the road, and then again there's another incline, and the falls are down there. So there's a little rivulet that comes through, natural spring. That has been diverted to come into the Shiv Mandir, to go past a Sphatik crystal lingam. Go ahead. This is called Sri Prakash Shekhar Mahadev Mandir, Masuri Road, Dehradun. One more. This is the Shiv Lingam made of crystal. It's found in the depths of the Himalayan soil, under frozen soil, And so there is a little stream that goes past it. You can actually use the stream water to do Abhishek. I did that, and then to the left there is a place where the 9 Navagrahas are, 9 planets. There's a station for that. So I was standing there and praying. Suddenly I heard a voice saying, "Theli mein dekho." That's Hindi. Theli is small bag. Everybody speaks Hindi there, so it didn't seem to connect, Theli mein dekho. It could be anybody saying that, look in the bag. Not thela, theli. A few minutes later, in English, Swami tells me, "Look in the green bag." He calls this the green bag. It's a bang bag, actually. So I immediately ran out. I didn't even put my shoes on. I crossed to the bus and told the driver, "Open it quickly. I want my backpack." I looked in the backpack, looked in this camera, battery, charging unit, everything is there. Everything. I had forgotten it in the rush of things. I had left the battery on charge. It was a black dressing table. My case was black. Camera was black. I didn't notice it. Left at 5 in the morning. And obviously, he transported it. Go ahead. These are the 4 areas. Top left is source of the Yamuna. The top right is the source of the Ganges. This is Kedarnath, the Shiv Lingam, and this is Badrinath, Lord Badrinarayan of Vishnu. Most holy shrines for Hinduism. Go ahead. Keep going. This area is where Lord Rama had spent many years of his exile. So literally every few feet or every 100 feet you'd find a little temple built in his memory. This is one such temple with this tapestry. Go ahead. This is the temple at the source of the Yamuna. Keep going. This is a granite slab. There's hot springs there at the source of the Yamuna. This is at 11,000 feet height. There's hot springs flowing under that. It enables men and women to have a bath at that height without feeling cold, Hot water. This is flowing just below this granite slab, and if you put raw rice on it, because of the steam, the cold and the steam, the rice cooks in a few minutes. And you can offer it to Mother Yamuna, Goddess Yamuna. Go ahead. This is the Yamuna, one of the largest rivers in the world, just like the Ganges. Go ahead. This is Gangotri, the source of the Ganges. I waded into this pool, into this raging river. I asked Swami, do I go in? Because I hypothyroidism, underactive thyroid, which I developed late in life. So I can't bear cold too much. This is freezing cold water, ice cold water. He said, go. So I went into the middle of the stream, and this huge line of people was passing me their bottles, one after the other. They saw me filling. I had 4 sipper bottles in this bag. That's why I had taken this bag. 4 sipper bottles. I filled my bottles, and then everybody else is sending me their bottles. But I was there for like 15 plus minutes. Ice cold water. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I couldn't have stood it otherwise, His grace. Go ahead. This is that same sipper bottle, and these are the sipper bottles that we had them prayed on. There was a priest that did some puja, and there's that green bag. Go ahead. This is a temple dedicated to Mother Ganga. One more. This is Lord Shiva. There's Mother Ganga on the right, Lord Ganesha. And this is sage Bhagirathi. He was the one who prayed for the Ganges to come to earth. Because she would come down in such tremendous force from the heavens, Lord Shiva had to catch it in his locks. You know the story, so go ahead. This is Kedarnath, one of the 12 Shivalingams that Swami had recharged in 1961. Continue. This is the side of the mandir. In 2013, there was a landslide. Go ahead. Landslide came down on this slope. You can see the path that it had torn out of the hillside. These huge rocks came with the landslide, and they came to a stop right behind the mandir. Coming down from that height, it has to be a miracle for it to come to a sudden stop right behind the mandir. And because of those rocks there, all the other debris and water flow was diverted, and the mandir was saved. Everything else was washed out. 2013, hundreds lost their lives. Go ahead. Same view again. Go ahead. This is the only place where the Saraswati is seen above ground. Otherwise, she goes underground, comes out at Allahabad, merging with the Ganga and the Yamuna. Go ahead. This is Kedarnath, this is Badrinath, one of the holiest shrines to Lord Vishnu. Go ahead. Go ahead. Again, there's hot springs here. But this is one place I wanted to show you. 3 miles from here, 3 kilometers from here is a place called Mana. It's the last Indian village on the Indian side with the Tibetan border. Go ahead. Last Indian village, Mana. Go ahead. This is the cave where sage Vyasa took the entire knowledge of the Vedas and compiled them into 4 volumes, composed 4 volumes by need. It's almost 5,400 years old. Incredible piece that you find. You can't take photos inside. You can only see it from the outside. But you can go in. No photographs allowed. He's the one who took the entire knowledge of the Vedas and compiled them into 4 distinct volumes. Each volume, of course, consists of hundreds of volumes on their own. Go ahead. Ved Vyasa Gufa is what it's saying. Sri Ved Vyasa Gufa. Go ahead. The 18 Indian epics and the Mahabharata was composed here. And within a few feet, a few yards actually, there's another cave, and I see so many idols of Lord Ganesha that I'm sure he must be dear to you. Go ahead. This is Sri Ganesh Gufa. Ganesh Gufa, Ganesh Cave, where he sat and wrote the 18 Puranas and the Mahabharata that was composed by Ved Vyasa. Literally, he sat there and wrote it over so many years. This is the reason why we have them today. Lord Ganesha did that. Go ahead. Just some description. Anyway, as for lack of time, we won't go any further. What else is there? Go ahead. Yeah. This is Nanda Devi. If you look out from at height at 11,000 feet, this is 19,000 feet. You can see a profile of Lord Shiva on some mornings. Some mornings it's very clear, some mornings it is cloudy. This was one of those in-between days. It's not easily discernible from here, but to the naked eye you can see it. Go ahead. Go ahead. These are the different rivers merging together. Keep going. This is Rishikesh. Leslie, bring back memories.
Yes?
This is the Ganges coming down to the plains at Rishikesh before it comes to Haridwar. Go ahead. This is where the Swami school is, and this is the temple, and just outside that is Lord Shiva's 23-foot high statue. Keep going. This is Mother Ganges compared to Lord Shiva. Go ahead. This is a temple dedicated to Swami. This is the Sri Satyasai Ghat, which was opened last year. Was it last year? Yeah, last year, June of last year.
What's it done?
Ghat is an embankment of the river. Right across the street, if you take the Lakshman Jhula to cross the Ganges, there is another temple there where they have Aarti every evening. Now, this Satyasai Ghat was built on this side, right across from there, and they have Aarti there every day. A lot of miraculous things happen, but again, there's no time. Go ahead. This is Lakshman Jhula, the walkway that was there. Today, they allow bikes to go. This is the Satyasai school, which is within walking distance of there. Yeah. Yeah, this is it. This is Lord Shiva at Haridwar, at the Ganges. Keep going. And Mother Ganges. They do Aarti there every evening, a place called Har Ki Paudi. This is the Aarti every evening in Haridwar. Okay. This is Lord Ganesha. This is Ganesh Chaturthi in Puttaparthi. Made by these little boys here. But this is, anyway, this is all about Gram Seva. There's no time, so we'll just skip it. Thank you. Thank you.